Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be a bit of a weird one. So I haven't made a tutorial in a minute, and I made this little baby one, so I can't really turn back on it now, but my mic wasn't actually working, so I'm going to be voicing over what I'm actually doing throughout the course of this tutorial. Obviously, next tutorial that I make next week is going to be a lot better. Been so busy, I haven't been able to do anything. Been making a lot of loops for different people, and I actually started a label with a guy's work, Chris Brown. Shout out Superiors for believing in me, sort of the beginning of something new. So essentially I'm making a little baby and Lil Durk loop today, and I'm just going to add some drums to it. So pretty much I'm just grabbing a piano from Keyscape that I have here. Normally I use ballad or rich ballad for majority of these melodies. It's a really good sound. It's a very generic one though. I do change the sound later, but it's good to sort of just get a feel for the start. And I'm going to put these on just to make sure that I look like I'm in the mood, you know what I mean? But so essentially I'm just putting chords, very, very standard chords in. It's not anything too crazy, but yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. But this is a very popular progression. It's used almost all the time. You've probably heard it from Lil Baby and ESTG. Like, they just use the same sort of progressions all the time, and it is hard. That's why it's used so often, but it's very easy to make, and don't feel it's too sort of, I don't know, taken back by them, because it's a very, very simple melody to make. I'm pretty much just laying bass notes at the moment, and then I'm just going to do a very, very simple top melody, because you don't want to overcomplicate these, because the drums are sort of what complements the melody. It's not supposed to be too crazy. So and just copying that over now. I don't really like to vary the melody up too much. I like to move little things around, and so we just put this up by 2. I believe it is 3, but I put it up by 2 here for some reason, and then this down by 4. And then you pretty much just go back to the same one, and then you go up by 2. So pretty much, it's a very, very simple, but it's very, very easy to make. Yeah, I messed up. It's actually 3. So that's the main melody. That's the main melody. So now what I normally do is I layer my strings. So I've got my melody now. Pretty much just like this solid sort of foundation. So I just choose some strings from SRX Orchestra, really good VST, if you want strings or anything like that. So I pretty much just lay it with the bass notes, follow the bass notes, and just put it up an octave or 2. And normally I just go through these and just try and find something that sort of suits the style, take out the highs a little bit too. I really like the compressed sound. I don't know why, with the strings. It just sounds sort of much more atmospheric, I guess. And yeah. Here you can actually find a lot of decent melodies for strings. You can just sort of go around, and I normally keep it in a 2-step. So every 2 bars it changes and goes back to the original. So it's sort of like a repeat, which is what a lot of melodies are now, is repeats. At the moment I'm just sorting out the bass notes, so pretty much changing all those and making sure the hold is at full. So when you have the note, when you're playing the note, it just it keeps it short, and it keeps it sort of to the point. It doesn't go outside of that, because if you were to add the bass notes without doing that, it would go crazy, and you have to cut itself as well. I think I already did that, but so yeah, nothing crazy here. Just layering the bass notes, making sure that I have everything set up. And yeah, these melodies kind of need bass. And then I realized that it doesn't sound correct, so I decided that I want to try and be a genius and figure it out, but it takes me a lot longer to figure it out. So I eventually figure it out. It was G major, so I'm gonna go ahead and change that now. And pretty much just going through this and just having a look at anything I can find. You can see I add every 2 bars, so it just sounds the same and doesn't go outside of what you normally need to hear it as, because if you do, it's sort of it sounds, yeah, it sounds really weird. I'm sure you can do it on some melodies, and I haven't, like, to start off with, this is pretty much all you need to do. Like, you don't need to find anything too crazy. So I pretty much go in here as well, and I'll sort of add the second string, which is the violins. I like to layer strings a lot more in these types of beats, especially when you want to sort of make like that battle music. I don't know, it sounds like battle music to me. Yeah, you want to sort of do the same. You want to do the same thing, and sort of just layer the sounds and make sure they sound good together. If they don't sound good together, then don't add them. Don't just try and over complicate the melody. But at the same time, I like to use little things as accents, because it sort of adds sort of like ear candy. Like you sort of want to have that, like those little things in the background. So yeah, I end up changing it here to addictive keys. I've been using addictive keys a lot more, because you hear the same Omnisphere piano and everything, to be honest. And I'm trying to sort of change that a little bit more in my sound as well. So essentially now I'm pretty much just grabbing an accent through distant voices, which is pretty common. Like arcade is pretty common, and it works with all these melodies, to be honest. Both low and highs, when you cut them out, it sort of sounds like that ambient type of stuff that you want to have with like Lil Baby and Lil Durk type of stuff. So all I do is pretty much just go and grab the equalizer straight away and just change it straight away from there. And then just go through and just see what you can find. You can change all the ambience and all that type of stuff with the levers on the side, the 4 levers. Arcade is oversaturated, but it still works. It's still the same. Just go back into it. Just look for a sound that you want to find, that sounds good with the beat that you make. Like, obviously your beat's going to sound way different to mine. Like, no one's beat is exactly the same. But yeah, just look around. Like, so this is the vocal that I end up using, I'm pretty sure. And this is just, as I said, it's just an accent. It's not even a vocal at this point. It's sort of just like, it's just a small little bit of ear candy that you can make. You just want little things. You don't want to overcomplicate, as I've said many times. Like with these melodies, you don't want to overcomplicate them. You can overcomplicate the drums, but I would suggest against overcomplicating it too heavily. Just to show you guys sort of how I lay these drums out. I don't go too crazy. Just with the hi-hats, I really like changing the hi-hats, making sure that they're at triples. Triplets always sound good with these types of beats. Like you can add this type of stuff, like all the two-step, but I really like the triplets. So go to the magnet and just click the third, so 1/3 of a beat, and you can see now I'm just cutting it here, and then I don't know why I exited it, but you cut it there, and then you make the triplets, and then you pretty much just copy the pattern over. I don't have the kick on there for this melody, so I'm just going to add my own source to the hi-hats now. Just make sure they don't sound sort of generic. Like, you can add triplets, and they just sort of sound very generic, so I'm going to just change it up a bit. Again, just adding like little bits of ear candy. What I do here is I like to pan it out, similar to the Roddy Rich, the box, similar to the 808 there. Grab an 808. I think I try and use something other than spins, but it just never works out. So I'm just going to go to the main piano melody, and then just sort of work on the bass note. So I pretty much just use the triplets as well. You're probably hearing a lot of Lil Baby and all that type of people's beats that they use these very often, and I just wrecked everyone's ears, I think. Actually, it wasn't too bad. I thought it was going to be a lot worse on the ears, but it's actually not too bad. And then I pretty much just copy this over. I copy this over and then just put it down 4. So you can tell already it's starting to gain sort of like some bounce. And you want the 808s. And then I realized that I need to change that. So that was good. So that's now on the bass note. It wasn't before, which is a rookie mistake of me. And now pretty much what I do is I grab an open hat here, and just add a little bit more ear candy. But besides that, it's not too crazy. I'm just adding a little bit, and then I finally find my spot where I'm keeping it. So and then I put these up. Just put up one semitone. Just depends on the hi-hat. Alright, that's going to be it for the beat, guys. I'm going to put a preview of the beat at the end, but if you did like the tutorial, and I apologize, it's very cringy that I have to do it at the end of the actual tutorial and voice it over, but it is what it is. Next week I'll have a better tutorial. I'll make sure that my mic is actually working. So Comment down below what you thought, if you learnt anything, all that type of stuff. I comment to everyone's comment. I appreciate everyone's support regardless. So yeah, like the video, subscribe if you learnt anything. Helps me out immensely, and it keeps me going. Sort of lets me know that the tutorial is helping some people, you know what I mean? So hit the subscribe button if it helps you. So that is it for the tutorial, guys. I'll be back next week, but for now I'm out. So peace.